Hi and welcome to this Redux tutorial. My name is Johan and I'm from Denmark, and I've been working with front-end development the last 10 years, and I've been doing a lot of Angular and also just started on React and Redux. And what I discovered with Redux is that it can be a bit difficult to understand because it has some terms that you might not be used to, and also some terms that doesn't make much sense if you don't have like the full overview. So in order to learn it better, what I did was to try and take some of these terms and convert those into other terms that are more easy to understand. So that's also what I'm going to do here. So this is going to be Redux taught as a fairy tale. So before we start, I'm just going to say that we're going to do all coding in the editor here. And in order to see some progress in our terminal, we need to use Node.js, but that's the only thing we're going to use Node.js for. So don't be too scared about that. Let's start by introducing some of the terms that we're going to use. We're going to have kingdom. Then we're going to have treasure. We're also going to have a treasure manager. Then we're going to have a messenger. And last but not least, we're going to have a pigeon. And it's one of those pigeons that deliver posts from A to B. Let's call it a post pigeon. If we start by creating our kingdom, we'll make a constant, call it kingdom. And what we do here is just require Redux. Actually, before continuing, let's put some Redux terms on all these names. So our kingdom is going to be Redux. Our treasure, well, that's going to be a store. Our treasure manager, that will be a reducer. Our messenger, that will be an action. And our pigeon, that will be a subscribe. Alright, so we have created our kingdom up here. What we also want is a treasure in our kingdom. And in order to make this treasure, we need some materials. So let's make a constant, call it materials. And that is just materials from our kingdom, where we use create store or a Redux function. Well, it is a function, but we're not going to initialize it here like this. We're going to do that later. Alright. Next, we have our treasure and treasure manager. The only one who can ever gain access to our treasure is our treasure manager. So it makes sense to create him first. Make a constant called manager. And our manager, he's really just a function that doesn't know anything. Let's call him like a stupid manager. He can only take orders, and that's pretty much it. So if we start by writing him as a function, the error here, this is a ES6 function. If you don't know it, it's the same as writing function manager blah blah blah, but let's do it the more modern way here. So what he always needs as a parameter is the state and what he should do, so an action. The most basic thing he can do is tell us what is the state of our treasure. So we can return our state. And that's our manager. He's created now. Let's have the manager create a treasure. So let's make a new constant, call it treasure. And that's gonna be our materials. And as I said, the materials function up here. It's a function, and down here we're gonna initialize it. So we do it like this. And who is gonna build the treasure? Well, it's gonna be our manager. And I just noticed that materials is spelled wrong, so I'm just gonna change that to materials, like this. So this is our materials created. Let's try and console log this. We can always get to know what's in our treasure by saying treasure and get state. We save this and console log it down here. You do that by writing node, then the name of your JavaScript file. In my case, it's Redux basics.js. You can see it returns undefined. That makes sense because we have built the treasure, or the manager has built the treasure, but he doesn't know exactly what's inside it. Or actually, nothing is inside it. Not even 0. So let's put that in as a value. Let's make a new constant and call it initial value, or just init value. That would be object with a property value set to 0. In ES6, you can say that when you have like a parameter and it's undefined, well, you can say that it should get this init value instead. If it's not undefined, well, then it's just going to use this. So if we save and console log this again, you can see that now our value of our treasure is 0. Okay. So we have now a kingdom with a treasure that is managed by this treasure manager. So the next thing we want to do is tell the manager that he should add 1 gold coin to the treasure. In order to do that, we'll say that, okay, we have the treasure, and we want to run to our manager. In order to run, we write dispatch. And we want to tell the manager what to do. So what we always do is pass an object, which should always have a type. This type is like what is called instruction. So the instruction could be to increment the treasure with 1 gold coin. So we'll call this increment value, or inc value. And that's actually all we need. Try to console log this again by writing console log treasure get state. You can see we have value 0, value 0. So the first one comes from here. That makes sense. The value was 0. And the next value is from down here. And you might think that it should be 1. But the messenger has gone to the manager and told him type is equal increment value. But the manager has no idea what that means. The manager is, as I said in the beginning, is quite stupid. He needs to get everything told. So what we can do is, or what you should do is, write, for example, an if statement. Let's say if action, which was the one we have down here. If action type is equal to increment value, oops, spell it correctly, then the manager should go to the treasure and add 1 gold coin. So you might think you would write return state value plus plus. And in normal JavaScript you could do this, but it's a bit of bad practice to do it. You're not allowed to change the state directly. If you use React, you're gonna get a warning. So what we do instead is we make a copy of our content into treasure, make our changes, and then overwrite the treasure with the new changes. So we write constant, return. My spelling is not so good today. Return. And what we want to return is a copy of our current state. And using ES6, you can write it like this with a spread operator. And the next thing we want is to take the value inside of the state and change it to what we want. So let's write value, and the value should be state value plus 1. So if we try to run our code again down here, you can see we have 0 and 1. The 0 was from our initial state, as it was up here. And then our messenger goes to the manager and says, add 1 gold coin to the treasure. And after that, we call the treasure to see what's inside it. And well, now there's 1 inside it. So we could add another messenger and say add 10 gold coins. So let's make another action and call that add, for example, add value. And then what you can do is you can add whatever you want here. So you could add, for example, a name or an ID or value or whatever you like. It could also be a payload object where you would put all your properties. But in our case, all we want to change is our value. So let's just write value 10. This means that when this messenger comes up to the manager, we need to write another if statement to be able to understand what this means. So what we do is just take this one, make a copy of that, call it exactly the same as the value down here. And the difference is now that we want to use this value down here. So this is in our action. Therefore we can write action and value. And this should like take the treasure, current state, take our value and add 10 to that value. So let's try and run this. And as you can see, it says 0 and 11. That makes a lot of sense because our first console log was this one, which was 0. Then our messenger goes to our manager and adds 1. Then another messenger goes to our manager and adds 10. And then at last we console log to see what's in our treasure. Well, there must be 0 plus 1 plus 10, which is 11. So now we have gone almost all the way. The last piece of the puzzle is it would be nice to be able to get notified when there's a change in our treasure. We can always write this, of course, but no one knows if there actually was made a change or not. So in order to be able to get these notifications, we can use our subscribe function here, our pigeon, and that is just taking our treasure and subscribing to that. This is a 6 function, and what we want to do when something changes, we just want to console log. Let's write pigeon here. And what is it we want to console log? Well, it's just our treasure get state. Now we get notified when something has changed, but here we change our treasure and then we subscribe to it afterwards, so we don't get notified. So therefore it makes more sense to take this pigeon and move it up here before the action. And let's try and run it again. So what you can see here is that we have our initial value, which was 0, comes from this one up here. Then we have our console logs from the pigeon. We have it 2 times. Well, that's because our messenger goes to the manager. It's 1 gold coin, which that we see down here. Then another messenger goes to the manager and says add 10 gold coins. We also get notified about that. So now it's 11. And last, we have this manual way of getting informed what's inside our treasure. And that just comes at the end. So this is Redux in a nutshell. I hope this helped you a bit. It helped me a lot to better understand Redux. So every time I think about reducers and actions and so on, I think about like a manager and a messenger and a pigeon. Makes it much easier. So thanks a lot. Bye.